Our guest today is Corey Buckner. Corey's with Always Endure. It's a nonprofit organization that is that he's founded to do several things. I learned a little bit just a while ago, not only to help cancer patients, but also help folks in adopting costs. So he's going to talk with us today about this organization and what all it helps.
Cool. Thank you all so much thank you for the invitation. The opportunity to come and to speak. I'm gonna leave it here. I know you got some of you have. And so Always Endure we're a local 501c3 nonprofit based out of Fayetteville here. We started officially in 2015, but I want to kind of give you the history of kind of how this came about. I think context of king is important. Where this all started, you have to go back even 2 years prior to 2015 to 2013. 2013, I got a diagnosis that you have stage 2 Hodgkin's lymphoma cancer, and you need to go and begin chemo treatment immediately. And it was before that first round of chemo that the Lord, I was praying through just the upcoming difficult season. I knew it was going to be, I didn't know what to expect. I just knew it was going to be tough. And just praying through that, the Lord gave me this, what would be my battle cry, or just as I went through treatment of always endure. It's going to get tough. Some days you're going to feel like you want to give up and quit, but keep pushing forward. Endure. Never give up. Keep pushing forward. And trust me as you go through it. And I can attest, there were a lot of tough days as we went through the season of not only chemotherapy, but also radiation after that. So after that season of cancer, praise God, I was declared in remission in the spring of 2014. That's that same time frame my wife and I got married. And she was my primary caregiver as I went through cancer treatment. And we just had this desire in our hearts to want to reciprocate the blessings of how people has poured out. As that cancer season, I remember waking up and hearing a lawnmower going. I'm like, what is that? Is that my neighbor? And I peek out the window, somebody's mowing my grass. And then I remember getting the doorbell would ring constantly as people dropping off food for all the meals I wouldn't have to cook. And there's people who, when Brittany couldn't take me to treatment, the other people who would take me to treatment. And just our community is so loving. I think that's what, when people move here, and we have now being a pastor of a church in our community, in our county, there's so many people who have moved in, even that have come and visit, or even members now of our church that are not from here. And they're just like, that is one of the things that they recognize, is that everybody's like a big family. Everybody's so loving and supportive. And I'm like, yeah, that's Lincoln County. That's who we are. And so we wanted to reciprocate that blessing. So God opened a door for us. We wanted to have a 5K run. I knew how to do that. I started one where I had worked. So let's just have a race, and it'll benefit a cancer patient locally. So we did that in 2015. Main Street was starting the Slawburger Festival. It's the first annual. I'm like, hey, we'll be a first annual. We'll just marry this together. We'll kick off your race, and it'll be something we do together. You'll have all these people already at your event, and I get to say, hey, all of the people who come to our 5K, you got all of this festivities as well. So it's mutually beneficial and helps us out. So that first year, we're able to raise several $1,000s to help local cancer patients, and then begin to go from there. I want to kind of pause and just say, this is something that my wife and I started. It was just an event to bless people. We have full-time jobs. This is something we did on the side that we really wanted to do just to bless our community. So 2015 it starts, 2016 5K again, 2017 5K again. Boy, the gifts keep getting bigger. And it was after the 2017, our third annual 5K run, I had a buddy of mine. Some of you may know him. His name is Patrick Kimbrough. He's from here. He's now an investment banker, lives out in Texas. But he messaged me and said, hey, you need to become a nonprofit. And I'm like, well, how do you do that? I would love to do that if you know how to do that. And he was like, well, here's the thing. We have a mutual friend. I'm going to call Jonathan up on the square. And I'm going to pay for you to become a nonprofit if you want to do it. And I was like, I'm down for that. That's a win. And he said, on top of that, if you do it, my Mariner Wealth Advisors will give you funds every year to help you, make sure you are accomplishing your mission. Win-win. Let's do it. So 2017, we're able to apply and then become an official with the IRS, a 501c3 charitable organization. We'll continue on from there. We did our 5K, and that's really just what we were doing. We really didn't have any initial, we just wanted to bless local cancer patients in that small way. Well, the Lord had other plans for Always Endure, and He had other plans for our family. In 2018, after years, from the time I finished chemo to that point, after years of infertility and 3 consecutive miscarriages in a row, we had tried IVF, we tried IUIs, we tried everything, and it all ended in miscarriage. The Lord led us to adoption, and we were able to adopt a 4-day-old baby girl from Bakersfield, California. I'll never forget going into, it was a whirlwind 48 hours for us, because we got the news, we said yes, in 40 hours we had to be in California. It was just like a story for another day. You can go to our website and read that, alwaysendure.com, kind of our why on that, just that whole story. But I remember walking in at Bakersfield, California hospital. It was a sunny Sunday morning, and we had to get all the protocols just so we could get admission, because she was in a neonatal ICU. And we walk in, and then they're sitting in that incubator with all the leads and all the machines and everything on her. That's our girl. Like that's our baby girl. That's our Bella Faith. And we spent about a month in California. Half that time was in NICU. Half that time was being discharged with a preemie baby that was just barely 5 pounds in a hospital or in a hotel with brand new parents. It's like, oh my gosh. We watched a lot of Alaskan Bush People, because that was the only thing that was on the TV. So we watched a lot of that, and it was a crash course. It was a very sweet time, very sweet 2 weeks or so in the hotel, but it was also like, I'm thankful that my wife is an RN and NICU RN on top of that. So she was very helpful. She gave me, I was confident that the baby is going to survive the hotel experience because she was with me, and she could handle it. And so we fly, we get, ICPC says you can come back home, California says you can leave, Tennessee says you can come back in, and we come back home, and that forever changed our life. Now as new parents of a new baby, and the next following year is official with the court system. She is yours. She has a new name, new home. Everything is new. It's the beauty of adoption. Well, ever since that moment, we wanted to expand in to help other families adopt, because the biggest barrier to adoption is, for a lot of families, is the cost. And our adoption of Bella Faith was around $60,000. Normal, adoptions range anywhere from $25,000 to $70,000, pretty common. And a lot of people see that, like us. Brittany, I remember we were sitting at that agency meeting, Brittany's like, don't look at the back page. I'm like, that's the first thing I looked at was the back page, because I'm the budget guy in our family. I do all the finances. I'm like, whoo, we didn't have a dime to start with. But you know what? God made a way. And we were able to adopt debt-free. We had the generosity again after the season of cancer, with our community rallying around to support me during my cancer journey. They rallied around again to support us through our adoption journey. And both of those journeys, we were debt-free. It's all paid in full. And we were able to adopt our daughter, and we wanted to do something else to help other families that are adopting, to make it more affordable so that more children get their forever home. So we began to pray about how to do that. Well, 2019, I got a call from a buddy, Kiwanis Club, their reindeer run that kicks off the host, which would have been, is obviously coming up this Saturday. They were ending that, and they said, hey, do you want this open slot for another 5K? And I was like, I'll take it. They said, actually, this was like 3 weeks out. Do you want it this year? I'm like, no, I don't want it this year. Give me next year. Give me 2020. Well, then obviously 2020 happened, and it was an interesting year for all of us last year, but I will say this. We raised more funds and gave away more help last year than we ever had the years leading up to that. Every year it's gone up, every single year. And this year is the same. 2021, we've had our spring 5K to help a local cancer patient. We have our one coming up this Saturday to help an adoptive family that's pursuing adoption. And then this year especially, God has been so good to open up other avenues to minister to families on a much broader scale. One of those is through a respite vacation. So we had a family this spring call us. They're from our area, from Lincoln County, and they said, hey, my husband and I, the wife had called me and said, my husband and I just bought a beachfront condo in the Gulf, Dolphin Island, and we want to go through Always Endure, your nonprofit, to give families that have gone through the cancer journey or gone through a very difficult, like an open heart surgery or a transplant or some major surgery, a respite vacation, all expenses paid.
Wow.
And I was like, excuse me? And she's like, we want to go through you to offer that to people. And I was like, do you want to do that? Do you want to partner? I was like, absolutely, I want to partner. That is awesome. So we were able to do that. So they blocked off 4 weeks throughout this year, and 4 families in the area have gone who thought they weren't even going on a vacation this year because of everything. They just couldn't afford it because of the finances of everything they've gone through. For my wife and I have gotten a call then, and it's like, I feel like I'm Publishers Clearinghouse or something because I'm about to drop this awesome news on them and they don't even know it's coming. And I'm like, hey, what are y'all thinking about? How's things going? How's your recovery? So y'all going on vacation this year? Everyone, I'm like, no, we just can't afford it. We don't know how, we just been through a lot. I was like, well, how about this? What would you go if I said you had a free week and it's all paid? They're like, are you kidding me? I'm like, absolutely. I'm like, well, I'm offering it to you. And through the generosity of that family who waives the condo fee and the cleaning fee, and then also our donors who help us provide a gift card that covers all the food and all the gas to get there and back. It's completely all expenses paid. We've had 4 families go and enjoy that and make memories in a time after a difficult season of life. It's been so sweet. One of those families, you would know because you've seen signs throughout our community. There's Rally for Riley, and you know who I'm talking about. They were able to go on one of those weeks, and just to see her sing how great thou art right there on the coast with the beach and the waves and just praising the Lord. And it was just a beautiful, beautiful moment, beautiful opportunity that we were able to offer them and 3 other families. So that was one avenue that opened this year. There's another one that opened, and that's through Clearview Cancer in Huntsville. The Clearview Cancer Institute in Huntsville, that's where I got my chemotherapy treatment and my radiation treatment when I was going through cancer. And we wanted to step in and help patients there somehow. So we met, talked with all their head social workers, like, how can we partner? And they're like, well, what if we set up a discretionary fund that, and we said, this is something we'll pump into every month through the donations that we get in. And this is going to help support patients, yes, from Lincoln County, but even broader. Madison, Limestone, pretty much all of southern Tennessee and northern Alabama, everybody going there for cancer treatment. And we're going to be able to alleviate things that could be barriers to treatment. This is things that at Clearview Cancer at CCI, these are things that there are no other funds for. So things like this person's about to start chemo, but before they start, they have to have dental work done because the risk of infection is so high. That needs to get done first before they can start chemo. Well, this covers it. This also covers medical supplies, medical equipment, prescriptions. It'll cover housing, like so rent and mortgage. It covers utilities. It covers transportation to treatment. And through that partnership, I know of at least 18 people that we've been able to help patients in the area. And you'll see on some of this, there's a testimonial, the very first one on that sheet that I gave you. So because of HIPAA and things, we don't know who we help. We can't know. They're not going to share that information. But what they do is they get a card every time they help a family that is from us, saying, hey, this need, as they vet people and know the needs, and they help them through this fund. They get a card and it says, hey, our story, and then we'd love to hear your story when you share it with us. Well, haven't got too many back. We've been able to bless a lot of people. and it's not, we don't do it just to get something back. We just want to know, if they want to share how we're helping people. We got an email in one just a few months ago, and this was the bulk of the email. It's more than this, but it's just talking about, she's just so thankful that my brother is now put on hospice. He's late stage cancer. We didn't even know how we're going to afford his rent, and your fund covered it, and just blew her away. So that's a new partnership that started this year. The third avenue, the way that we've expanded is through adoption aid grants. So that is either through our website, couples will apply, and we will award adoption aid grants. We also have a partnership with an agency called an organization called Lifeline Children's Services. And they're all over. They have a Birmingham office, but they're around the country. And what they will do is they will give us non-identifying information of families that are adopting that need help. And they'll say, hey, here's this family, and who do you want to help, and how much do you want to give them? And we'll give that, it'll credit their account within Lifeline. It doesn't actually go like, here's a check to you personally. It goes to credit their account and all the expenses that they have going through them for their adoption. So we've been able to offer adoption and grant this year, which we weren't able to do up until this point through that. So far this year, we've been able to help a lot more people than we ever had. This is the biggest year to date. Every year it's gone up. God's grown what we've been able to do, and we're so excited. Well, the big news as of our family, our whole journey has been a journey of faith. Through the cancer, through the infertility and miscarriages, through the adoption of Bella, it's just trusting the Lord every step of the way and let Him make a way where there isn't a way. And we've been praying. There's a burden on our hearts to do more. The need is so great for what we do. The gospel too important, but also what we've been able to do, what we've been able to accomplish, too little, because we say no a lot more often than we say yes. Just do the funding. We just can't fund everything. You only do what you can do. So we've been praying for many months, and Brittany and I were not on the same page pretty much. So I began to pray secretly. All right, Lord, if this is what you're telling me to do, I really felt God was saying, leave your full-time job, resign, and do this full-time. And that was the next step. It made no sense whatsoever, but He's told me a lot of things that made no sense. So and it all worked out. So I was like, so I began to pray. Brittany and I were not on the same page. Well, several weeks later, she comes to me out of the blue and says, hey, I think we should do it full-time, and I'm on board if you want to do that. And I was like, all right, Lord, there's my green light. So next day, resigned from my full-time job, and that was 3 weeks ago. We're going to go all in on Always Endure, and with the hope and goal of exponentially increasing the amount of people that we can help, that we can support in not only in Lincoln County, but also even further out in our whole Tennessee Valley area that need assistance and need support. So it's been a crazy 3 weeks, crazy as in just busy meetings, but the Lord equipped me for this, because I did everything I've done at another nonprofit for 12 years. It's just, now I don't share the load with anybody else. It's all on me. And the Lord has given me opportunities like this very one right here, just to share the story of what we're doing, how we're blessing people. We'll do it again on Saturday at our 5K, and then right after our 5K, we'll be at RCA. And Miss Angela gave us her booth. Right prime time, right when you walk in for the craft show over there, we'll be over there sharing, and as the Lord continues to open opportunities, we'll keep sharing and just trusting the Lord to make a way, not only to make it feasible for us to do this, but also more importantly, be able to bless a lot more people. And that's really what we're about. So, what I want to kind of do, I'm not sure again how you said about 20 minutes. I'm not sure where I'm at. I get talking, and I'll keep talking. I'm a pastor, so we got plenty of time. So just Q&A. I know there's probably lots of, maybe there's questions that you may have, kind of how we do things, or you tell me. I'll say funding sources. One of the questions we get, what's your funding sources? I'm like, well, right now, it's private donors, it's churches, it's some grants that we get, and then our fundraising events that we do. We don't take, we haven't taken any government funding. One of the things that I want to make sure that we're able to do is continue to not only meet people's needs, but also in a greater way share the gospel with them as we meet their needs. So, and to give you an example, how that's happened more, I mean, the last 3 weeks, I have exponentially had more opportunities to share the gospel with people that we're meeting than I ever had prior to leading up to that. Had a guy, let me go back to give you the context. So, about 2 Fridays ago, I got an email from a company. I was able to speak at a Chamber of Commerce event in Huntsville right after I resigned. The guy that gave me this opportunity came out of nowhere. I was able to talk to all these businesses and share about Always Endure. Well, a company messaged me, emailed me, and said, "Hey, we want to go through Always Endure to buy all the Christmas presents for a family that's going through cancer. They don't have to worry about it." And I was, "Do you have a family?" I was like, "I do have a family." So I was able to call that husband up and to give you the circumstances of this particular situation. This is a husband who has a full-time job. They have 5 kids. The youngest is 1.5 years. The oldest is 11 years old. His wife is diagnosed with leukemia, and she got an infection after her last chemotherapy treatment. Is in ICU in Huntsville. They live near the Tennessee-Alabama border. And he's just trying to hold it all together. He got 5 kids, his wife's in the hospital, and he's trying to work a full-time job and support his family. And he's just, how do I do this? So we were able to talk and share just about what's going on in his life, and then I was able to share the gospel with him. We were able to pray with him on the phone, and then came the moment where I got to say, well, "Sir, I want to tell you, what are you doing for Christmas?" And he was like, "Well, I don't know. I've been thinking about that. I don't even know how we're going to make it happen this year." And I was like, "Well, there's a company that wants to partner with us, and you give me a wish list, and they're going to go get everything on that list for and not only just for all 5 of your kids, but for you and your wife, just everything." And the phone got real silent, and then we both just started crying. He was happy tears, but it was just a sweet moment, and he's just, thank you 1,000 times. And to give you an update, that was about 2 weeks ago, 2 Fridays ago, I made that call. Last week, his wife actually thought she was improving, but then some complications and things came up, and was actually put on hospice, and the next day passed away. So now he is here on Tuesday, about a week after. Now he's just trying to figure out, how do I even take care of my 5 kids, and then this has happened. I'm dealing with the grief of that, and it's just a heavy thing. And we're able at least to come alongside and, hey, let's link arms together. We're going to be here together, and we're going to support you every way that we can. Not just Christmas gifts, but how else can we help be here for you right now? So there's many opportunities that the Lord has given us to speak into people's lives and to share the hope of Christ, and also meet other needs that are tangible expressions of that as well. So, questions, anything? I'm a pastor. I can keep rolling. I got, I'm looking at the clock.
Bring us up to speed on Bella.
Yeah. So Bella, again. So to give you the scoop on Bella, I'll give you kind of a lot of the things that we don't. A lot of people don't know a lot. So Bella's backstory. Let me just tell you about that. So our daughter Bella, she was 4 days old when we met her in California. When we were doing our service plan at adoption. So when you're doing adoption, you'll have a service plan. And these are the cases that you'll accept, right? These different situations. Well, my wife, being neonatal ICU, had a lot of confidence. She has seen all these different situations working at Huntsville Women and Children and the NICU. So, and we really felt like the Lord said, kind of led us to wide open. Any ethnicity, any situation, we just want the baby the God wants to give us. We'll take whatever's going on. So we were praying. We knew that probably meant substance abuse. We probably knew that meant other addictive things in them being in the mix. So we just began to pray, God, put a hedge of protection around our baby, and help that be with that mom, help her to make wise decisions, but even if she doesn't, protect our baby in the womb wherever she's at. And we had to pray that. And we got the call, we go out to California, here's our baby. And that was the case. Bella's birth mom, we love her. We are so thankful. We would not be parents without her. We pray for her often, but just to give you the fact of the matter, she was transient homeless. She lived in abandoned buildings and wherever she could find the whole pregnancy. She is alcoholic and drug addict. She used and consumed the whole entire pregnancy. She had no prenatal care, was Hep C positive because of her drug use. And all that being said, there's a lot of things you're like, well, the baby's going to have a lot of issues. Zero. The Lord answered every one of our prayers, had no issues whatsoever. We run every test we could run. The Lord answered our prayer to protect her in the womb. Well, since then, she has grown. We've grown as parents. You know, you go in all the different stages with a newborn. We've learned a lot. It was a crash course really for me in those early days. Now she's 3 years old. She's a toddler. She is fiery red hair, attitude to back it up, loves her mommy and daddy. She loves music. She loves singing. She loves her pets. And right now, thankfully, I can still mix in she loves her, we'll have princesses, tea, and dinosaurs. At least we get dinosaurs. I can go with that. So, but, and then the new adventure of the last 3 weeks, I'm actually at the house. We have a home office, or office in our house that I do everything out of. But she, and her perspective is, Daddy's home all the time now. We get to play all day. I'm like, baby, I got to work. I'm just saying, there's a lot I'm trying to get done here. And so so the second, that was on a Tuesday. I was a Thursday, so almost 3 weeks ago, Thursday. I was on a Zoom call with a guy who does some of our 401k, 403b stuff. I was getting it transferred away from where I used to work. And I'm working through this, and this is things we're just working out. The house is just in the middle of the craziness. I'm on a Zoom call with him trying to work this out. Bella had played outside, got dirty, got a bath. Well, she bolted from Brittany after the bath. I'm on this Zoom call, and it's just like you see him on YouTube or whatever, butt naked, come rolling in the Zoom call, Daddy, 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 Daddy. And I was like, no, turn the camera. And I was like, baby, go put some clothes on. And she is her father's daughter. Because she put some clothes on. She runs into her playroom, grabs a Superman cape, and runs back in. And I'm like, that's my girl. Turn the cape around, okay, please. You don't need it. So, and then Mama was so embarrassed, comes in, and it's like, I'm like, it's okay. It's life now. It's all good. And she just is a. We were picking up. She goes to Mommy's Timeout at First Baptist, and Miss Karen was just saying, "I'm a proud daddy. I'll brag on her all day long, like any parent would brag on their kids." And she's like, Miss Karen's like, she's the only kid here that knows everybody's name, not just the kids, but all the teachers. Like, she knows everybody, and so she's a smart little girl, and we pray big things for her that God will use her in a mighty way. Bella Faith, Bella means beautiful, means devoted to the Lord, and that's really what we say, Lord, we give her to you, or we give her to you, that you would use her for your kingdom, for your glory in a mighty way, that her faith would be beautiful, and she lives that out. Questions, anything else? So,
do you have people to help you, or do you ask for volunteers? Or?
Yeah, so right now, when it comes to the leading this ministry, my wife, we're co-founders, I'm the president, that we do have an advisory board of families that sign on. And we have, so the way that Always Endure is set up as a 501c3 nonprofit is they set us up as an LLC. And because we're an LLC, we don't have to have a board of directors, but we know the value of having that oversight and having that accountability, especially with donors, to know that that's present. So we intentionally ask these families to pray about it. So we have an advisory board of people who fill that function and that role. We actually have, there's 4 different couples that are a part of that. and they all have different connections to us in different ways. Some have adopted, some have other just different connections to who we are and what we do, and where it's real to them. And so they are very helpful. I mean, it got to the point, me especially now, pastoring Grace Falls, everything that I have my hands in, that Brittany has her hands in, trying to lead and do this, just the two of us, like, it ain't cutting it no more. Like, we're just scrambling to try to get it done. So we're very thankful for those people that stepped in, those other individuals to help us out.
So your wife quit her job also?
So Brittany was an RN, and then 2019, she had a desire to be a stay-at-home mom, because we had all these years of trying just be, and so I was like, let's just, if we can make it, if we can swing it, let's do it. Now, she has an activewear business that she has grown, that really brings in, that she does well in that. So that definitely helps our family out, but she's able to be there and be there with Bella. So she is my social media, graphic design, and a lot of other things person. And so we just divide all the responsibilities up, the big stuff. And then when it comes to making decisions and then who's going to get funding for adoption, just a lot of different program organizational type things. We allow, our advisory people come in and they have they can see all the financials and transparency and all that, so what's going on. Let's see. I want to give you the reason I put this on here. This last sheet is, you probably, some of y'all probably never heard of this guy. I read a lot of missionary biographies. A lot of people who have been on the mission field, and there's several guys that I really just cling to because I really they resonate so much with me. One guy named George Mueller, you can look him up with all his orphanages, but also there's a guy named Hudson Taylor. Awesome testimony and story. The Lord called him to go as a missionary to China. He battled severe depression, but he went in obedience and faith to what the Lord had called him to do, and got made fun of because at that time in history, missionaries didn't dress like the locals, but he did. He got made fun of it by other missionaries. But anyway, started this ministry in China, and eventually the fruit of that ministry, what he started, 20,000 Chinese come to faith in Christ. Well, one of the quotes that he said, one of his quotes is, there's 3 stages in every great work of God. He said, first it's impossible, next it's difficult, and third it's done. So we want to ask in faith, asking and believing in faith, we want God to get all the glory for what we do. So it needs to be bigger than our capacity, what we could do on our own. It has to be something that if it happens, that's a God thing, and He did it, He gets all the glory. So, this year we'll have gifted about $30,000. We'll fundraised around $45,000 total. Out of the 45, about 30 of that has been given away. Again, this has just been a part-time thing we've done on the side. Well, now that it's my full-time, and now that we can invest all this time and attention to it, we're like, let's ask God for big things. Let's ask for something only He can do. So this next year, this is what we're praying, is that we go from raising around 45,000 to 400,000. You're like, that is crazy. That's a huge increase. Like you're thinking it needs to be you think if you do goal stuff in business, it needs to be attainable. You think all this different stuff. I know all that, but what God can do is I want to give Him room to work and do what only He can do. And so that's what we're asking. But if that happens, this is what's going to happen. This is going to be a lot of the fruit that 10 families will get an adoption aid grant of $15,000, like a big chunk. We want to make an investment in a big chunk and get them down the road because it's so expensive. One family will get their whole adoption fully funded. We're so excited to be able to do that. Right now, what we give Clearview Cancer and helping patients there is not even a blimp on the radar of what we want it to be. So that we want to increase that to at least $9,000 a month down there. And then the respite vacations, every family will get a $1,000 gift card. Right now it's around a $300 to $500 gift card, so that goes up so they can cover things. And then you mentioned volunteers. So one of the things that if I take my Always Endure hat off and I put my pastor hat on, as a pastor, what I want to know is I'll fund your mission, I'll get beside you and support you as a local missionary. But how can my people get involved? That's the question I want to know. So one thing that we're about to roll out, probably in the new year, is all the ways you can volunteer. And it's going to look a lot of different ways depending on the group in which we're working with, within who we serve. So with cancer patients, this is things that, taken back to my experience, we're going to step in, hey, we're going to get people to go mow their grass. We're going to get people to step in and do home repair projects that they can't do while they go through chemo treatment. We're going to have families that lined up. They're going to go take meals and do things like that to make sure they don't have to worry about that. On the adoption side, there are many other things that you need as you prepare to make, whether that's a baby or an older child, to have them prepare their room. So there's a furniture that needs to happen, but I would love to have just kind of like a home makeover, but a room makeover, where a family will take that room. Yes, the family will pick out the paint colors, but we have volunteers coming. They're going to paint the room, they're going to get the furniture, they're going to do all the stuff, and then the family doesn't have to worry about that. I know you're live in this, but I don't think our beneficiaries, I really just seriously doubt they're going to watch this before Saturday, so I'll give you a little sneak peek. Not only are they going to get a really big size check to go toward their adoption, which we're super excited about, but there are other things that they need for adoption. So we had a friend of mine who's a bank exec in Huntsville. They needed a jogger stroller, and then they needed a car seat with a base, and it's FAA approved because they're going to have to travel. They didn't have any of that. Well, this lady, friend of mine, went and we were able to purchase that through a donation that she gave us. So they're going to get all that on top of what they get for their adoption. So to get them down the road. So there's other ways that we're going to roll out that you can be involved. So we have some money set aside, and then along with partnerships and gift in kind that we'll get as well. So to help do some of these volunteer projects at different municipalities in the area. So I think I'm 8 minutes till 1. I know y'all have to get back to work. So any other questions for finished?
I got a comment, is that he was born this way. Is that this kid, when my kids were this tall, and he was way tall, just like you said about Bella and the Superman cape, they thought he was Superman. Not just based on his height, but his spirit. And you should see kids around him. It's amazing. This guy's amazing.
Yes, he is.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for all the blessings that you are bestowing upon everybody. And like you say, it is God's work. We just got to have that belief and that faith in it. Let him do his thing. Not our thing, his thing.
Absolutely.
And in his time too. That's the hardest lesson too.
Absolutely.
His time, not our time. But thank you. I want to give you a hug.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you.